Hi folks, I'm going to walk you through how I created this little 3D doodle here using the VRT stretch wand. First thing to start with is to find a good reference. I used this anatomical figure from the 16th century that I found on Sketchfab. You can just go ahead and download that in GLTF format. Get a zip file here. And go back to VRTist, projects, settings, load, and import as reference object. Load that. And now it shows up. Now let's go ahead and into a virtual. Yeah. Now that we're here in virtual reality, let's just reorganize our workspace a little bit. Move this out of the way. Bring this slide down so we can look in there. All right. Now, the next step to get this kind of effect is to create some stretch brushes. Let's first set the material. I used just this wooden material in the default set of materials. Hit the draw button so it draws with it. And and for this particular doodle, I just used a few spheres like this. Grab the handle here to stretch out, and stretch out, and then created kind of a I'm trying to make it pretty much vertical like this so that I can go ahead and make a vertical stretch brush. That's the intended goal. Pretty good to me, I think. So we go over here to miscellaneous tools, grab the grouping tool, and make sure we can select all of the things inside here, and grab and click. Right. Now it's a single object, or these things have been joined into a single reference object. And now we need to go another step farther, go to the organizer here, and then go to the transformation actions. And down here, we want to merge the geometries. This creates not only a single object with multiple sub-objects in it, now it's just a single net. And just one single geometry, the shape in the VRT terms. And traces straight up and down if you can get it. And then you click here, create height stretch. And now it creates a stretch. Still semi-transparent, so let's go over back here to primitive shapes and solidify shape. And there we go. Now it's giving us same kind of effect as kind of wood fiber effect. Cool. So what I did is I actually just traced this guy. So I went kind of like this, try to, move this around, use some of my very limited understanding of artistic anatomy, try to follow some of the main muscle groups here. Let's see, try to put it like that. Let's see, you can grab the scene to get a better view. Let's see. To kind of come and resize to make sure you're getting the shapes you want. Let's see, this kind of comes down like that. And you get the point. If you're doing this for real, you probably want to take a little bit more time to make sure that it's as exact as you want. Move it around. But since this is just a quick demo tutorial, I'm going to be a little less careful. can make things bigger to block out shapes quickly, or smaller for better details. And just keep moving it out. Here's the foot, kind of like that. And let's see. And the pressure on the trigger also determines the size, so you can go like this for a quick thing, and then just lightly press it for more shapes like that. All right, let's see. So we can also go to the scene inspector for the statue here and just toggle the visibility. Now we can kind of see how the thing looks without it. Here's the other foot. Some more for the arm, the back. Again, if you're doing this for real, maybe you'll probably spend a little bit more time trying to make sure it looks just the way you want it. Let's get rid of these now since we don't need them anymore. Next thing I did here was just to take this default head and up with the sculpture head. Pretty handy, it lines up pretty close. And toggle the sculpture off. Now we got pretty much the same basic shape. Again, I spent a little bit more time on this doodle than I'm spending here on the tutorial, but you get the picture. Next thing was to start adding some other kinds of things. I drew with the gold material. Back, give them kind of a mask effect, half of the face, and line it up just like it's more or less what I did. And then some of these hexagons, I don't know, because they looked kind of cool. Like that. All right, that's how you do the character part. Let's see. And then to create the material for the ground, let's see, got to bring back the canvas. I've already got the fill brush going, so I wanted kind of a combination between this gold material, so let's just go ahead and fill it with the gold material, turn down the opacity, and then add some rock material. So now got the opacity down, now just kind of fill it, just lightly tapping on the trigger till we kind of get the blend of gold and rock that we want. That looks pretty good. Then you go over here, create material pack from canvas. So now that'll take this material that we just blended and put it as its own new material. Click draw. And now here we go. We've got a rocky kind of golden. Let's see, maybe it needs a little bit more rock. Let's go back to draw with the rock. There, more rock. Great from this one. All right, there. So now we've got this kind of rocky hexagon, and do similar kind of thing here. Just bring a little bit, let me bring it back up for you. Similar kind of thing here. Let's create a bunch of these. This one is horizontal, so we'll make a horizontal brush. Horizontal wand, rather. Right, click. Right, now it's grouped. Organizer. Transformation actions. Merge geometries. There we go. Close the old one. Right, and stretch with stretch wand now. And here we go. Oops, got to put the thing back to solid. All right. And there we go. That's how I created the ground. Just like that. Kind of get. Let's see. Maybe put it down like this. and you just kind of build it up. Let's see, so that's ground, and kind of these things coming out of the ground. All right, so that's that. And then next was these little wooden chain links. So go back to the wood material. To create the link, I used just the basic circular stretch wand. Kind of hard to get a good one. Let's see, there we go. It's good enough. And then just duplicate and same process. Let's get our grouper. Make sure we only get these links and not the actual rest of the scene. We'll just make it long like this. Okay. Same thing, we'll bring it up here. Inspector, organizer, and merge geometries. And close the old one. And create height stretch font. And then just have these kind of wiggling up out of the ground like that. Yeah. Cool. Rid of the old part here. And yeah, and this is pretty good, I think. This is pretty much what I did. And from here, you can either play around with the lighting and stuff inside of VRTeast, or you can go ahead and export it. I'm going to just go ahead and export it before I forget, if I can find here. There we go. Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks of the VRTeast UI. Oh well. Okay. So now we'll export it. Let's see, close the load section, export. Default options are all pretty good, and export GLB file. All right, exported. We'll double check it by loading it in GLTF viewer. Cool, it's all there. Great, awesome. So again, you can keep playing with it in VRTeast. Let's go ahead and do that now. And let's see, first thing to do is to change the tone mapping so that our lighting and all looks the way we want it. Let's go for Filmic. All right, now let's grab some of these lights. Actually, let's change the whole environment. I'm going to load one of the HDRIs that I loaded into the extras pack. So we go over here to load extras and HDRI environments. And let's go with the basement this time. All right, so now you can see got this cool basement environment. So the light. And on. There we go. Play with this. Let's change the color a little bit. Kind of red. Just do that by so make sure you can see it. Let's see, you do that by just clicking on this color button on the back, and that changes the color to the currently active color. And you can just set up the light the way you want it. Let's see. We go back to our environment. We can change the camera exposure, modify the background brightness, and the bright background intensity. Let's see, it's a little bit like that. Let's see, we can grab another spotlight to highlight some of the features. We can make this pretty dim. Let's see, make sure the gold gets some. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And let's see. Now let's bring this back just a little bit. Bring this one back just a little bit. Get all this stuff out of the way. And we can go ahead and take a picture, as long as it doesn't crash. Here in cameras and spray paint, perspective camera. So we've got a little preview there. And let's make sure that everything, just the field of view so it's a little wider. Making sure the controller's out of the shot. Click to download. And down. Yeah, it's just a quick thing. The camera will use the canvas size, so we've got a pretty small canvas. So let's make this 1920 by 1080. All right, and now we'll take another picture. All right. I think that came out looking pretty good for the amount of time that we spent on it. The next steps for getting the effects that I did was to bring the exported GLB file into Blender, and maybe we'll continue that in a little bit.